Hey there and welcome back. You know how we're always seeing these headlines, right? We're just constantly bombarded with them. But have you ever really stopped and thought about the journey behind those findings? Like, how does a simple idea turn into a study that everyone's talking about? Well, today we are pulling back that curtain.
Right? I mean, you see it every single day. New study shows coffee boosts creativity, or, scientists discover a link between social media and anxiety. And it's so easy to just, either nod along or just completely ignore it. But the real question, the one that matters most, is also the simplest one. How? Seriously, how on earth did they actually figure that out?
Well, here's the thing. Researchers don't just stumble around in the dark hoping to bump into some data. No, they actually have a map. It's a framework that guides every single move they make. And we're going to call it the PET framework. That's P-E-T for practical, ethical, and theoretical. It's basically their secret map for the whole journey.
So let's start this journey. The first stop on our map isn't some high-minded academic stuff. Oh no, it's all about the real world. This is the P in PET, and it's all about getting through the practical stuff, the hurdles that can kill a research project before it even gets off the ground.
And yeah, this is where things get real. It's not so glamorous, but it is absolutely make or break. I mean, think about it. You could have the most amazing, world-changing idea, but do you have the money for it? Do you have the time? And what about getting to the people you need to study? It's not like you can just walk up and start interviewing a secret society, right? This is the fundamental reality check that every single researcher has to face.
Okay, so let's say you do it. You clear all those practical hurdles. You've got the cash, you've got the access, you've got the time. Awesome. But now you hit the second checkpoint, and honestly, this one might be the most important of them all. This is the E in PET, ethics. These are the rules that put people first.
And you really have to let this sink in, because we're not just talking about numbers on a spreadsheet here. We're talking about people, real people, with their own stories, their own vulnerabilities, their own lives. And when a researcher has all this power, all these resources, their number one job, their absolute primary responsibility, is to protect the very people who make their work possible.
So how do they do that? Well, they have to run through what I like to call the ethical gauntlet. And listen, these are not friendly suggestions. These are non-negotiable rules. First, you've got to get informed consent. People need to know exactly what they're signing up for. Second, you have to promise confidentiality, lock down their data and keep it safe. Third, you have to do everything in your power to avoid any kind of harm, physical, emotional, you name it. And maybe most importantly, you have to make sure everyone knows they can walk away at any time, no questions asked.
It really all comes down to this powerful idea right here. Think about it. The data, the findings from a study, they might get talked about for a little while. But the experience a person has in that study, whether it's good or bad, that can stick with them for the rest of their life. The data is temporary, but the impact on a person, that's permanent.
All right, so we've navigated the practical stuff, we've respected the ethical rules, now we're at our final checkpoint on the map. This is the T for theoretical. And this is deeper. It's like the philosophical compass for the entire project. It's not just about what you're studying, it's about your core belief in how we can even know things in the first place. And usually, researchers are looking at the world through one of two big lenses. On one hand, you've got positivism. The best way to think about this is like a satellite photo. You're far away, you're trying to get this huge, objective, big picture view using numbers, stats, surveys, that kind of thing. Then, on the other hand, you have interpretivism. And this is totally different. This is like getting up close and writing the personal story of a single tree. It's about understanding subjective meaning through things like in-depth interviews and observation. Look, neither one is better than the other, they just answered totally different questions.
Now, inside this theoretical world, there are a few big ideas researchers are always grappling with. The first one is called validity. And really, it just boils down to one question. Is it the truth? Like, is your method, your survey, whatever, actually measuring the thing you claim it's measuring? Is it a true picture?
Then you've got reliability. And this one's all about consistency. It's the can you do it again test. So if someone else came along and followed your exact instructions, your exact recipe, would they get the same result? If the answer is yes, then your method is reliable. And last but not least, representativeness. This is the does it apply to everyone question. So you found something interesting in your small group of people, but can you actually say it applies to a much wider population? You have to be super careful here. Your little sample has to truly reflect the bigger group you're trying to talk about. So there you have it, our three big checkpoints: practical, ethical,
and theoretical. But here's the real secret, the key to all of this. Great research isn't just about ticking these boxes one by one. No, it's about a constant, tricky, delicate balancing act between all three of them.
And this really pulls it all together. A researcher is constantly juggling these questions. In one column, can I afford this? Can I even get access? In the next, wait, is everyone's consent totally clear? Is their data 100% safe? And then in the third column, is what I'm doing actually valid? Could someone else replicate this? See, a method that's theoretically perfect, like living with a group for a year, might be practically impossible and ethically complicated. A super quick and easy online survey? Sure, it's practical, but is it really giving you the truth? It's always a trade-off.
And that brings us to the main takeaway. Look, research that's only practical, it's easy, but it's probably pointless. Research that's only ethical, that's wonderful, but it might not actually teach us anything. And research that's only theoretical, well, that's just a great idea that stays an idea. The real magic, the research that actually matters, happens in that tough, essential sweet spot where all three of these things come together in balance.
So this is what I want to leave you with. Think of it as a new tool in your toolkit. The next time you see one of those headlines, pull out this mental map and ask yourself this one critical question. Okay, maybe the study was practical, and maybe it seems theoretically sound, but if it bent or broke an ethical rule to get its results, is it still good research? Should we even call it good research? That's the powerful question the PECT framework forces us to ask. Something to chew on the next time a big study hits the news.